Welcome to UFO Buster Radio, episode number 265 of the UFO Buster Radio Report. And just came off of a fresh new interview yesterday, 265B. Yeah, the do-over episode from the original, 264B. The do-over, yeah. This is 265. Yesterday we have the Dawsons with us, talking about Ronnie's experience and how that impacted the family and what that's all about. When you said the Dawsons, the Waltons come to mind. It's almost like a small, like weekly show you watch, the Dawsons on Fox. But it was a great interview. Nonetheless, you guys should check it out. Again, 264B. We had Ronnie Dawson. We had Mary Jane Dawson. And really, it's an interesting topic because you want to know the impact that experiences go through in their lives, personal lives. Especially someone who is constantly trying to put out that message to get people to believe that he had an experience, and you want to know, at least I do, what kind of an impact that has on his family, right? Because here's an individual, Ronnie Dawson, who has been on all kinds of podcasts, interviewed by the media, and he travels now, as of late, the last few years, traveling to paranormal shows, UFO shows, in order to, meet people, make connections. Heck, if you listen to that episode yesterday, you actually hear him state that he recently was in contact with To the Stars Academy. Ronnie's not playing games. He really isn't. He's trying to make those connections and to get to someone that would take his story as a true story. A story that should be investigated. A story that needs a bit of technology leveraged in order to help him figure out what it was that he experienced back in 2009. And then in 2010. So hopefully he gets there. Hopefully he gets the answers that he needs. But today, we're going to talk about interstellar object number 2. That's right. Number 2. Just recently, about a year ago, we were going on and on about how we almost completely missed the first interstellar object that was driving people bananas. Even has someone named by Avi Loeb claiming that this could have been like artificial, made by another civilization. But let's get to that right after this intro. For Pete's sake, for some reason I can't get this microphone right. I keep moving it from side to side, and I almost completely goofed up our news report intro there. But hopefully we're done with that. We're done with it. It turns out that just recently, in the last few days, an intrepid individual by the name of Gennady Borisov made a discovery. That's right. And Paul posted on UBR Truth Seekers, say, hey, anybody following this? Anybody know if this was confirmed? Because, of course, it was posted in one of those websites that likes to post a lot of crazy alien UFO stories. Well, Paul, it's been confirmed by quite a lot of established people like telescopes, and the one and only NASA has also confirmed the object. C219Q4. It's what it's called, and of course they'll change the name eventually to add the name Borisov to it. And apparently it was discovered on August 30th. And Borisov was at the MARGO observatory in Crimea when you just happen to come across this little dot in the interstellar sky that was heading into our solar system, basically. So people, of course, are going crazy about this because they're saying, oh, it's like Oumuamua, right? We went through this whole thing about Oumuamua because of its shape, the fact that it didn't have a tail, and it was cigar-shaped, and you could barely see it. I mean, it barely reflected any light, and if it wasn't for the fact of how it was moving kind of erratically, right, it was kind of like tumbling through space. And if it wasn't for the fact that the way the light was hitting it, we really wouldn't even catch this thing at all. It is one of the things that kind of drove Avi Loeb to think, hey, maybe this thing was flung towards our solar system or is coming by to do like a reconnaissance type thing. Yeah. So let's see what we're going to think about this one, thanks to our buddy Borisov. So the comet is still inbound toward the sun. And I just want to make one note here that Oumuamua, whatever the fuck it's called, that also had a trajectory headed toward the sun. Is that a coincidence? How can something from interstellar space from 4.2 far just coincidentally be headed towards the sun? So both objects apparently have this trajectory. What they're saying, though, it says quite a bit far back, right? It's 6 times brighter than our first victim, Oumuamua. And so basically they can catch it. It does have a tail. So it is confirmed right now as a comet. But it's a really fast moving comet. It's actually moving faster than Oumuamua. And it's fascinating to me that these things are coming in and they are really they're aiming towards the sun. It's crazy. But NASA posted something interesting about Oumuamua that we'll cover in just a moment, because it's one of those things that kind of drove Avi Loeb kind of bananas. Kind of got him to the point where he was thinking that maybe this isn't a natural thing. It isn't a fragment from somewhere, that maybe this was launched. So right now, the comet's velocity is about 93 miles per hour, or 150,000 kilometers per hour, which is above the velocities of objects orbiting the sun at that distance. So because of that velocity and the fact that it looks like it's a hyperbolic orbit, that more than likely it's coming out from interstellar space. Now, this assumption was made by Farnaccia. Basically, it's coming from an Italian observatory where they've been tracking this thing, and they're basically saying that the high velocity indicates not only the object came from outside the solar system, but also that eventually it will continue, unless it has a bit of an accident, it'll continue to leave our solar system and back into interstellar space. Funny thing is that Oumuamua, we haven't heard about it for a while, but it would still take, traveling at about 70,000 miles per hour, it would take that thing about 4 more years before it actually reaches the orbit of Neptune. So you might think 70,000 miles is pretty fast, but shit, stuff in our solar system is pretty far apart. So if that gives you an idea, there you go. So one of the things that were brought to Avi's attention was a lot of the measurements of Oumuamua at the time that it was discovered leaving, our area, basically, because it was really faint, the images that they were able to capture, because they already had flung by. So one of the things that caught his eye was the fact that Oumuamua actually sped up as it flew by our particular neck of the woods in the solar system. And because it didn't have like a tail or a bunch of gas coming off of it, the idea was that maybe this was intentional. It wasn't something that was naturally the speed up. It wasn't something that was happening by the light from the sun or any gravitational pull. One thing that I found pretty interesting in doing some research on this, because, I had no idea, and I don't know how many of you did, that this thing actually sped up, was that NASA actually wrote an article about the speed up. And according to this, they used Hubble Space Telescope and some other observatories in order to look at the object and to figure out exactly why there was an unexpected boost in speed and shift in trajectory as it passed through the inner solar system last year. So, two things. It changed its trajectory. The trajectory change was not like significant in that when you look at the numbers that it changed, from our perspective, like if we were to change that much, it wouldn't mean anything. But if you have something that's almost a half mile long, traveling at 70,000 miles an hour, that change could mean something. A bit more significant when you're going through space. So according to NASA, and I quote, our high-precision measurement of Oumuamua position revealed that there was something affecting the motion other than gravitational forces of the sun and the planets, and this came from Marco Micheli of the European Space Agency Space Situational Awareness Near-Earth Objects Coordination Center in Frascati, Italy. I just butchered that, but I'm not fucking Italian. And apparently he's the lead author of a paper describing the team's findings. So they analyzed the trajectory of Oumuamua, and co-author Nauchnij, yeah, if he's listening to this, he's pretty much rolling over in his grave right now. I say his grave because I probably just killed him the way I butchered his name. They wrote this paper because they were pretty much trying to figure out why the hell this thing changed trajectory and also sped up. Again, according to this, and it's another quote from Nauchnij, this additional subtle force in Oumuamua likely is caused by jet gases of material expelled from its surface, the same kind of outgassing effects the motions of many comets in our solar system. Here's the thing. They really couldn't figure out if there was a bunch of that gas coming off. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about because the thing was so faint. Extremely faint object. There's no way that they really made those kind of readings. But they're assuming that because they felt that this was a comet, that that's what was happening. The other thing is that, in comparison to a lot of objects in our inner solar system, they said Oumuamua is a relatively small object. It did have an elongated shape, and its thickness both estimated to be between 37 and 167 meters, which range in between 115 to 145 feet by 115 to 148 feet. And the color was dark red, and the objects in the outer solar system of the sun, but it underwent non-gravitational acceleration, and apparently they likened this to things happen with icy comets, which we might see this, in other words, with our current interstellar object, Borisov, or 219Q4. So this is something to watch, right? Right now they're saying that even though it's 6 times brighter than Oumuamua, it is able to be tracked, right? Oumuamua, pretty much, even though it was red, it was pretty dark. And like I said, we really didn't catch it until it was 4.2 far gone. So this one, everyone's eyes are going to be on it. We're going to be watching this thing like a hawk to figure out basically exactly where did it come from. And right now, they're saying that the actual trajectory will probably have to be adjusted as they get more readings on it and keep an eye on where it's going. But this might be just as exciting as what we found in Oumuamua, and maybe much more so. It's moving much faster. It's still heading to the same general location area, if you could say that in space terms, as the other interstellar object. Now, there are a lot of news articles that are using all the artist renditions and images faint images they used of Oumuamua in their articles to describe this particular object. But no, they are not the same shape. Right now, they can barely determine what shape it is because it's just a speck of light with a tail behind it. So more to see. They say that this thing is actually going to pass by our neck of the woods to where it'll be the closest to us, the people on planet Earth, the monkeys. It'll be closest to us by December the 8th of this year. So this thing is hauling ass. So don't blink, because you're going to miss it. This is episode number 265. Keep your eye to the sky like Borisov did, because shit, there's a lot of stuff out there. And apparently we've been missing this for some time. Catch you tomorrow. Ciao.